So here's a big test. Can you park it?
I'm gonna back it in.
You're gonna back it in?
Back to JB Reviews. As you guys know, we bought a 2024 Chevy Silverado dually, and when I did the unveil video, a lot of people asked this question: how does it ride? And I figure I can answer that question today. So I have my wife. I'm gonna let her drive first because I find that harsher riding vehicles are just a part of my nature, so it doesn't bother me. But for her, she'll be completely honest and let you guys know exactly how it rides. So let's go ahead and jump in the truck and let's get down the road. Man, the truck looks great.
Let's go ahead and start it up. By the way, I learned something new. I gotta do a video on this because I own my GMC for like basically 7 months. No one ever told me this. And if you hold this button down, watch this. I think it's like 5 seconds or a little bit more. It'll basically put it in accessory mode, right? And you can now go through all your menus, your prompts. Yeah, the lights come on with the fog lights. It's so much better. I never knew that. So let's go ahead and pull out and let's go ahead and get down the road. So I have my wife driving first because, like I said, I want you guys to be able to see her impressions. But so far, I mean, these roads are kind of smooth out here. Actually, what would you say?
It feels smooth.
Like, you drive your Wagoneer quite often. Is there a huge difference in how this truck feels versus your Wagoneer?
It's a little more rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
It's a lot smoother than I would expect it to be for a dually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked too. I guess, I mean, the tire size on here is kind of, I mean, I would say this is a pretty tall tire. It's an 80 tall tires, a 235/80. So I have the tires aired down, and I'll show it to you here in a second, but I think they're below 70 PSI. So obviously, if you do use this as a daily driver, you would want to probably air them up if you're towing. Like, I would probably go 75 at the least out back, and then maybe you could probably run maybe 70 in the front. But if you're just cruising around mostly with this, I would keep it under 70 PSIs because, man, it rides really good in its normal form. And these are Michelins too, so the Michelins are just really quiet, and we'll get on the highway here in a second. You'll see that. Now, something I didn't mention in the video is this truck does have an independent front suspension, and this is going to really help with the overall comfort with the ride too. Jim is the only one that does this in the HD segment, if you're not familiar with this, but it does ride really comfortably going down the road. Now, overall, how does it feel like when you look in the mirrors, you see you have a wider stance out back? Does that intimidate you?
No.
You're doing a good job keeping it in the lanes too, actually. This is your first time driving a dually, I think.
Yeah, I just try to keep it centered with the road.
There you go. So you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
But I will not go through a drive-through with this.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah.
So, when I bought this truck, part of it was the pricing. This truck is under $80,000. However, there's no parking sensors. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did. I don't like that.
I know. I kind of wished that with the LTZ they made that standard. I mean, this is a big truck, and apart from already being just longer and wider, the last thing you want to deal with is having to figure out how to park, especially for my wife, because she's probably going to have to drive the truck sometimes. But how's the steer feel? Does it feel nice and tight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do like that about Chevy. Chevy has some of the best steer feel, in my opinion. The brakes feel nice and confident too. Mm-hmm. And like I said, like, we're hitting bumps. I mean, hopefully you guys can see the kids back there and us. Like, it's not terrible. Like, every once in a while we hit a bump, I can definitely hear it in my voice, like right there. Oh yeah. And you, again, this road is smooth. So this truck is noticeably like stiffer, but if you compared it to my GMC, what would you say about that? Like
driving the GMC versus this one?
Yeah.
I want to say that this is smoother, but that's not true, right?
I said the same thing.
I feel like it is, but it doesn't feel like it should be.
See, I told you guys. So I felt like, well, okay, I have to admit. So my tires on the GMC are at 75 and 70, I believe, because the dealership, when I got the oil change last, they actually aired my tires back down. But normally we drove at 80 psi, and that probably is why it feels a little bit stiffer because of that. Now, this truck has the pressure a little bit lower, but all in all, like, it does feel a little bit smoother in this form here.
And those were different tires on your GMC, right?
Yeah, those are Goodyears. Those are a little bit more well, these are all terrains too, but they're just a different brand and style, basically.
Could it be having the 4 wheels in the back makes it more stabilized, or?
Well, it does feel. You feel like it's more planted.
Yeah, well, I know it's heavier. So.
Yeah, this truck weighs probably about 500 or 600 pounds more than a GMC, than my GMC did. So
it does feel smoother to me.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the Michelin tires, guys. Personally, I think that what we're feeling is this is a really good tire brand. Like, that's something I said in another video, like when I did on the Ram 3500 dually. That truck is stiff. Like, if you're thinking about Chevy, Ford, and Ram, I think that Rams are the most obnoxious trucks. Like, they build those trucks for towing, and they feel heavy. I want to say they even feel a little bit heavier than this. And I think that if you really are concerned about the ride, like this is something you have to drive every day, you're gonna hate the Ram. Even with the air suspension, it does help a little bit, but it's still really harsh. Like, this truck rides, like, I can definitely tell it's softer, like 100%.
Yeah.
She's doing good, guys. She's doing really good. She got in the left lane too, because we have to make a right turn. She's preparing herself. See, she's already a trained truck driver, dually driver. I want to show you guys the turn too. So here we go. It's not bad. Good job. That wasn't bad at all, actually. So one thing I want to mention to you guys, when you think about this truck versus a GMC single rear wheel Chevy, whatever, the leaf pack out back is slightly different. So on this truck, you have 3 overload leaf springs, right? And on the single rear wheels, you have 2. However, they did remove a leaf in the leaf pack on the dualies. So I'm willing to bet you that's why this truck does ride slightly smoother, because you don't have as many leaves in that main leaf pack. Because right now the overloads aren't even touching the bump stop. So this truck's not gonna ride, you know, much different versus a single rear wheel. But the single rear wheels have 5 leaves in the main pack. And I'm willing to bet you that is why this truck does ride slightly smoother. And when we get on the highway, I'm telling you guys, this truck does ride like a dream. It really does. And I really want to hear your impressions on that too, because that's probably where you'll probably really see the difference. Like, in the city, this is where these trucks suck. Like, these trucks are terrible in the city, but when you get on the highway, unloaded, loaded, doesn't matter, they just ride so great. And of course, most people know this by now, when you add weight to the back of this truck, it does soften and smoothen it out. So here's a big test. Can you park it?
And I'm backing in.
You're gonna back it in? Man, this girl, have you owned dualies in the past? Like, is there another life you haven't told me about? So she's gonna back it in, she said, huh?
Back it in.
Let's see how she does then. Oh, let's see. Oh man, she's going all the way to the end of the curve too. Man, you are a fast learner. I guess we're gonna have dualies in the future. Wow. No, you're good. You're perf. You're probably about 4 or 5 inches from the curb. Not bad. Look at that.
All right.
Oh, look at that. She did really good, man. Yeah, just fill up a little bit.
I'm crooked.
You're a little crooked. It's okay. You did good though. She hit a pole, guys. Or she hit a tree.
Why did you put that on?
What?
I'm gonna fix it.
Hey, this is YouTube. I can't lie. She's fine though, because again, like I said, this truck has no parking sensors on the LTZ. All right, so my wife's at 65 miles an hour. Yeah, set the cruise control. It's on the left side. Just push that center knob down. There you go.
Nice.
So right at 65 miles an hour. What do you think?
Smooth?
It's smooth. It really is. Like, again, in the city, it's a little harsh. You're gonna have a hard time talking. But when you're on the highway cruising, if you do a lot of this, you won't even know you have a dually. And one thing that Hannah mentioned, she brought up the Ram. She said that the seats were a little bit softer in the Ram, which is so funny. She said that. And what did you say about these seats?
They're more stiff.
Yeah.
But the ride is softer in this.
Oh, yeah.
And the Ram was definitely more stiff.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. So my single rear wheel Ram rode harsher than this truck did, for sure. And that was before the lift, after the lift, didn't matter. It just rode just a lot harsher. But apart from that, I mean, I hope you guys liked the video. I definitely recommend, if you are looking to tow a big toy hauler, or if you just know you're gonna be towing over, I would say 16,000 pounds, you're probably gonna really have to consider going to a dually. I mean, of course, depending on if you travel with a family or just yourself or a couple, or how much gear you have, I mean, you might be able to make a single rear wheel work, but this isn't bad. And yeah, I would definitely get a dually again in the future. I do prefer shorter beds because I will never, ever, ever use that bed. I mean, well, we did, you know what, actually, we went to IKEA. We did use the bed to go to IKEA, actually.
Yeah. The couch fit in there perfect.
Yeah, and the boxes were about 8 foot. I mean, it was like almost, you know, from the front to the back of the tailgate, basically. So that's the one time we probably will ever use that. But apart from that, I mean, of course you have more clearance with the long bed, but if you're towing a fifth wheel. But apart from that, guys, I think that you'll be happy with this setup here. So I will be doing some MPG runs soon. And yeah, maybe I'll try to do a MPG run in the same spot that I did a Ram 3500 dually in. Because I don't know if I'll ever have a chance to see another one anytime soon, so we'll see. But I hope you guys liked the video. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.